Hello, everyone, and welcome to the 58th episode of Kouryer Podcast. Today, I'm joined with Ayan Nag. He's a concept artist and environment artist from Bangalore, India. And with that out of the way, could you please give us a little introduction on how we got into visual arts and design?
Sure thing. Thanks for having me, Ramtin, by the way. I started almost a decade back when I was still in college. I did not really know this field existed. Like you can actually make a living, like make art for games, animation, and movies, all that. So back then, I just started with like mouse because like we didn't know that pen tablet and all that existed. From there, I like after I graduated from college, I just like took some time off and found out there's a like definite field here, definite opportunity here. I sort of started getting to know more artists like Pelling and like Sparth, Bodo, and all those like famous artists. So I started seeing their works and started painting more, and eventually down the line I just started doing more paintings, figuring out what I actually want to do. And yeah, like it's been a long journey, but like that's the theme of it, and I just like kept going, and right now I'm here.
All right. And were you originally studying art and design, or you were pursuing another career path?
So I was in 3D animation. I was studying 3D animation, but to be honest, like I learned pretty much nothing there because 3D, I my interest did not lie there. I like learned the basics of Maya and all those like 3D softwares. But then when the animation actually started, I was like, it was way too technical. I was not learning what I wanted to. So I sort of lost interest and stopped going to the college altogether. And I just kept roaming around. I'll just go to like new places, watch like wildlife or like nature, whatever. I'll just roam around, skip college, and maybe after I graduated from college, I still had the basics though. Like there, I got to like interact with the like-minded people and like got to know more about this culture, this field. But like after that, that's where real learning began, because after I had to take up from different materials like YouTube, mostly YouTube. Some like Gumroad started coming in later. After that, like after a few years, Gumroad started like showing up. So those tutorials and all that. But yeah, somewhat like here and there, I guess. Not like technically I am from an art background, but like then again, like it was not very helpful in the start. But yeah, you get it.
Yeah, and well, I mean that's actually an interesting point you raised, and about the Gumroad and finding online resources. But I mean, of course, I also mentioned in the beginning that what your basically specialty is in design. But now I want you to, if it's possible, to get in depth a bit and explain your main branch of design that you're focusing in. Tell us about your experience from the start of it until now.
So I consider myself more of an illustrator than like a concept artist. So designing on my part comes in like shape design, like how to arrange brushstrokes, how to arrange compositions. So these sort of designs are like more important for me right now. I'm still like exploring more possibilities. But yeah, like design is everywhere. Like you can't paint a painting without design. Like basic design principles are everywhere, like where you put the brush strokes, is there balance in between them. Lot of stuff goes into it, like composition and this these kind of things. Generally I started out as a concept artist. So like I had worked for some AAA games, some like double A and like minor games. I Yeah, like mostly games in the initial run. Then I sort of started finding more passion about impressionism. So like I sort of like slightly moved towards that, and then I'll be doing both of these things. But that's the thing, I'll just be juggling between them. But yeah, it's been fun, and yeah, I mean, yeah, I think that's it.
All right, and how does your design process usually go anytime you want to start working on a project?
So before it was slightly different. Right now it's a bit more suited to what I need from a project. So let's say I'm working on a project where I need to illustrate a few frames. I'll pick up the concept topic like after this, because so let's say I need to illustrate something. So generally what I want to have is like, I want to make people feel what I want to feel. So to do that, I just want to interpret what I'm seeing, or like what I want the viewer to see in my own way. So for that, I just generally don't take reference at the very beginning. So I'll just start sketching. So if I have an idea, I'll just start sketching and I'll put down the ideas. Then like there will be like discrepancies between the reality and what I'm imagining, because like our memories are not perfect. So to bridge that gap, after I'm done with the sketches, I'll just like gather some references that applies to the painting, and I'll try to see like what I did wrong, and like try to bring those elements to make them more believable. So this is the process for most of my illustrations. And for concepts, it's generally a bit like I need to gather references very early on. I need to get familiar with the world. Let's say in game designs, I generally need to get familiar with the world very early on, so I know what's going on. I know if I design something that it fits into the world. So you need to get into the rhythm, and for that I need to get into the world and like be there, emotionally at least. So after gathering references, I'll start hashing out ideas. I generally don't sketch that much. I rather like I design with shapes, because that comes much easier to me for now. So to indicate small stuff, I think still sketching is the way to go. You just like put down lines and indicate small stuff. But otherwise, I'll design with big shapes, readability, and how the whole design language actually speaks, and how it like syncs with the existing world. So yeah, concept goes like that. Illustration is slightly different, but yeah, I mean, both has like parts that are needed in both the processes, so I guess it makes sense.
And now I want to actually ask you about some of the stuff I've seen on your profile and also on your resume that's on your website. You had some did some work with Ubisoft, if I'm not mistaken, and I was wondering what works were they and how did you get the opportunity? Like, how did this all happen?
Okay, so the project I worked for, it's still under NDA, and it was released sometimes back. Like not technically released, they released a trailer, and the
Oh,
trailer
all
was
right.
not up to the mark, so they just like delayed the whole project indefinitely. So I can't really fully openly talk about it
Oh,
now.
all right. No
But I
worries.
can
Sure.
talk about how I got into it. Like
Oh, all right. Sure.
actually it was actually done in Ubisoft India, and I was contracted by another company. So I went into a contract. I like never got a full time job. I was freelancer like from the very starts, and I got like couple of like in house jobs for like maybe 6 months max, so 3 months, 6 months, something like that. So this was something like that. I got into the company. They sent me over to Ubisoft because Ubisoft needed someone to design the environment, and there was a like great team. Like probably the best artists from like India were there. Like they just like hashing out one great artwork after another. So I went there. I then finally got to know like what the project was, and I was super excited because it's too bad I can't talk about it properly. Like it's so exciting. Anyway, I got there. I started working, and it was a learning experience. Like I generally, as I told you, I generally don't work in studio environments that much, but like I really enjoyed that one. Like it was so much learning going on. Like everyone's helping each other. Everyone's sharing something they know. I'm sharing something I know, and it's just like the growth was nice, and like environment was super chill. Like got to like, I really wish I could talk about more like detail about this. Oh my god! But yeah, it
Yeah.
was a super fun experience, and the like I was there for 3 months, I think. So after that, I had to come back. but like rest of the team actually carried out the rest of the work. So I saw some of it later on. It was just amazing. But yeah, so.
All right. And another project you worked on was actually April of 2020. You worked on Apex Legends. I think a trailer like I forgot the name. I think it was for the character Loba.
Loba, yeah.
Yeah. How did that happen?
So most of my jobs, the other thing, that's the theme of it. I generally like earlier in my career, I used to apply for a lot of companies, and my skill was not up to the mark, and I used to send like 20 to 50 emails per day or something, just like give me work and all that. So like eventually I figured out my work was not up to the level, and I just like stopped like looking for jobs altogether. I just like focused on just improving, and after that most of the jobs, just companies generally find me out through either social media or art station or something like that, and they generally reach out to me. So same thing happened with passion pictures as well. I actually worked with passion pictures for that one. So passion pictures, I got in there. They were like, we have this project, we really, and they're always looking for different styles of like animation and all that, right? So they I had to do like a test frame or something, so I did that, and the directors really liked it, so they were like, let's go with this. And it was intense, like couple of months. I worked on it for almost 2 months. It was very intense, but it was super rewarding as well. Like that's the thing, like it was a very different world, like from what I like before that. Could still do sci-fi, but I was more comfortable in fantasy stuff, like broken temples, ruins everywhere. So that's all I painted like before that. And maybe some sci-fi designs like once in a while, like that's about it. But after getting there, I had to familiarize myself with the whole world. And thankfully, Apex already had a world that was already very solid. So I had a ton of reference just like going there. So I collected all the reference, asked them questions, and generally got familiar with the world, and then start like designing the keyframes. It was like you have seen the trailer, I suppose. So it was a 2.5D. So like you keep everything in separate layers, and you then animate it so it looks like they're parallaxing and moving, and it gives you that sense of like fake 3D. uh, that was another challenge as well. So keeping all the layers separate, it takes more planning, takes more time.
Hmm.
But yeah, like it was super rewarding. I managed to keep all the keyframes in a single page very early on. Like I'll do the sketches, so I'll generally do them in color from the start. I generally don't do black and white all that much now. So I'll start in color, and how I do them is I'll have a huge page and small thumbnails. So since it's a story, I want some rhythm in there, so it flows with the story. The color, mood, it should flow with the story as well. So that's how I planned. I just put everything like small thumbnails all together and just planned out everything. And eventually, like it worked out nicely. So that was nice.
Awesome. And have you played the game yourself?
Yeah, I have. I have wasted many hours in Apex.
Hmm. Who's your favorite character? Who do you main?
Uh, After the release of Loba, I played a lot of Loba. Before that, I played some Wraith. And what was the other one? It's been so long since I played, though, like almost half a year.
Yeah, actually, I stopped playing it for like 10 months ago. I installed it in the first week that it got released, but yeah, I don't know. I just dropped it. It's not that it's a bad game. It's actually a pretty fun game, but yeah, I just stopped playing games for some reason.
Same here. Like after
Yeah.
like last game I tried playing was Cyberpunk, and after I started playing, I started doing the missions. Then I got like
Mhm.
super buggy. Sometime I'll just like the game will close. The sometime the game is
Yeah.
stuck. I was like, okay, I'll find. I'll just wait for it. Wait for all the bugs to be finished, like fixed, and then maybe later I'll come. After that, I haven't touched a single game. I just like,
Yeah, so I guess it'll be at least 4 or 5 years until you get a half decent cyberpunk without any lags or
God,
bugs.
yeah.
I mean, it was pretty bad with cyberpunk. I mean, because a lot of people made a comparison with Skyrim because when it's launched as well, Skyrim had a lot of bugs, but I mean, it was bearable. You could somehow,
Play it.
work
Yeah.
toward that,
Okay. Yeah.
but the things I'm hearing with Cyberpunk, it's unfortunately not like Skyrim at all. It's far from that.
Maybe
Oh
like
god.
after a year or something, they'll at least make it playable. Then they can make
Yeah.
these small changes. Yeah. Let's see.
Hmm. Yeah. Mm, maybe they'll fix it.
Yeah.
And the next thing I want to ask you about is that I've seen in your recent post on Instagram, you're on a challenge right now playing
Yeah.
April.
Yeah.
What's that about?
So it's basically you paint a plein air every day. Uh, but due to the COVID situations and everything, it's not mandatory that you go out. You can just take a picture and paint it. So plein air is basically when you go outside and paint something. So I'm just like taking my iPad and like going to random places, painting random stuff. And I generally do this for my own progress, own studies, but never before I have done these kind of challenges. So it's very hard for me to just keep the consistency like this, like post every day, work, like set out time every day for something like this, because also I need to take care of professional work in the meantime. So I'm just like getting to know more about myself, like how to manage the time and how I can make time when I feel like I don't have time. So but yeah, it's been challenging and it's been super fun as well, like I'm learning so much.
Awesome. And have you ever used your dreams as inspiration for your works?
I do actually, and there's a story behind this. I generally don't paint my dreams all that much because whatever dreams I remember or write down, they're somewhat personal, and I don't know, like if I make them a physical existence, they sort of like the meaning of it sort of changes. I don't know like how to like explain that, but I used to practice this thing, lucid dreaming and all that, like few couple of years back. So I sort of got hang of it. Then I was like, okay, I'm not getting enough sleep, I need to get some proper sleep. But how I get inspired for my dream is like I'll still take notes once in a while, like like I'll still keep a journal. And when I wake up, because like when you wake up, that's when you remember most of your dreams. After that it just starts fading, right? So idea is to just write it down, whatever you remember, you just write it down and you start remembering more. So you write those ideas down, I'll write something down, and I yeah, I'll write those down. And another way I found out how to like improve or like be more efficient while sleeping is like, what I do is, if I am stuck with some sort of problem, let's say like there's a composition that's not working, there's a design that's not working, I don't know why. So I'll just like take a look at it before I go to bed, like take a really hard look at it, and subconsciously somehow something will come up. So like that's a nice thing.
Yeah, I mean that's actually a really smart idea. It actually works with like homework problems or stuff like that. Like yeah, I mean your subconscious like fixes it in your sleep. Like like finds a solution that you have been missing this whole time.
Exactly, like our conscious views are very
Limited.
limited. Like we have
Mm.
the knowledge, but we are like how to like
We're too one dimensional, I think, in general when it comes to this
yeah.
stuff.
And also like social structure, like general structure in like the structure generally that forces us to think in a singular way. Our consciousness, like subconscious mind, is not like bound by that. So like they'll probably think out of the box or something. I don't know what my subconscious mind thinks, but
Mm.
yeah, like there's a lot of possibility. We have the tools, we just need to like find out how to use them, right? So I like that sometimes work, it does not work all the time, but I think it's a good way to like maybe give it a try. Like we're sleeping anyway, so
Mm. Yeah, and who are your favorite artists and designers that have inspired you the most?
I forgot Pascal's name in the beginning when I was listing artists. So I was super inspired by Pascal when I was starting out, Pascal Campion. Then I started seeing Spart's work, and I actually started out the whole concept art thing. Initially, I wanted to be a matte painter, because I saw works like in Warrior Within, Prince of Persia, Warrior Within, and all that. So Prince of Persia, Warrior Within probably was the like tipping point why I used to game a lot back in like school days. So that is probably still one of my favorite games. And I used to go around collecting all those artworks. Like you have to break those like battles, so you get those artworks
Oh
unlocked.
yeah, all those swords, artworks, all of that. Yeah.
Yeah, all of those, and you could literally unlock all the concept arts they had done like for the game. So I think Sparth did that, like did most of the concept for this thing, Prince of Persia. So I'd unlock those. I was like, holy shit, how are you doing this? Like, who does this? I want to do this because I always had a like interest in this. I used to copy stuff a lot. I used to copy like those Pokemon Jenga cards and all that. So initially, I do a lot of anime fan arts, copy stuff. Eventually, I moved on from character to background, and then I found this. I was like, okay, let's try to do this. So that was one main point of the inspiration. And uh, right now I'm more inspired by artists like master artists like Van Gogh, Monet, and all that. Like I'm really getting into impressionism right now. So uh, I'm just like loving learning about more about their life, how they led their life, and like what art was to them. Like it gives us different perspective. It gives me like different way to look at how art can be. And yeah, I think it's great. So
Yeah, I mean, actually, Warrior Within was also is if I could list like 5 games that my all time favorites, definitely Warrior Within is in that top 5.
my
And
God, man. Such a great game. I mean, I have played
yeah,
the game at least like
exactly.
40 times or something like that. I mean,
Yeah, I know. When I was a kid, I loved the whole Prince of Persia franchise. Such a good IP. And
yeah.
actually, I had one of the people who worked on the Prince of Persia IP alongside Sparf on my podcast, Thierry Doison.
Oh,
I think it was episode. I forgot which episode was it, but it's in the things I did. If you go to YouTube or Spotify, you can find it. And yeah, apparently after they worked on the episode, Prince of Persia 3, they were going to work on a new Prince of Persia IP, which got cancelled,
okay.
and the team that was supposed to work on it started working on a game, and that game was Assassin's Creed 1.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. That's how they got the idea. Like that's how
Yeah.
they got the whole Assassin's Creed franchise, and they just forgot about their like primary franchise and just left Prince of Persia. Like later games, I actually like the
The fourth one.
which one was the fourth one? I like the stylized one. Like I really like
Yeah.
how they
That
did.
was the fourth one.
That was the fourth one, right? So that
Yeah.
I really like how they mix the painterly look with the whole
Mm,
gameplay. That was really nice. I
mm,
think they got some awards for like this thing as well. The game like design, like the whole look design as well. It was really nice. But after that, it
mm.
just all went to shit. And
Yeah, exactly.
that's another thing. Like the project I was working for is the Sands of Time remake. So
Mm.
yeah, now you
Oh,
know why I was like
and
they
the
released a
what?
trailer like last year, right?
Oh,
So
oh yeah, you're right.
yeah,
Ah, the first one, the remake of the first one.
yeah, they're a remake of the Sands of Time.
Ah, oh my god! Let me actually tell you a funny story. Have you played that game?
Which one?
The first one.
The Sands of Time. Yeah, I have played all the trilogy.
You know, there in like the near the end of the game, there's like a place where like it's like a puzzle where you have to listen to the microphone and see where the sound of water coming from, and you can go through tunnels till you find.
Yeah,
Oh my god! During the time, like when I was a kid, during the exact time I got that game, my speaker didn't work, and I kept randomly going through tunnels, and I was like, how am I supposed to beat this? And I remember I deleted the game, but later, a couple of years later, I installed it, and I found out, oh,
yeah.
that's how.
And back then, like we did not really have the headphone concept all that much. We'd just like
Mm,
play the whole sound in loudspeakers or something like that. So the Dolby thing was not really a thing back then. It was just like you get sound left and right stereo. That's all right. But when you play it in the speaker, you don't really understand where the sound is coming from. So that was the key. You need to put the earphone and you could hear
Mm.
like it was here, it was here. So that was the
That,
challenge. And I think I am allowed to say this as long as I don't show anything. I actually redesigned that place,
hmm,
that same place.
interesting. So it's sound based again?
Yeah, the same. The story is changed.
Oh.
That's what I. Yeah.
Yeah, better not get tricked this time.
Mhm.
All right, and I mean, you've talked about a lot about your artworks, and you like sci-fi stuff and fantasy, but I mean, aside from the work that you've been commissioned by, what is the main subject of your artworks? Like you personally do, not the subject of the artwork you're commissioned. You know what I mean?
I got it. So what I do for myself. So that's what
Yep,
I asked,
exactly.
right? Yeah.
Yep,
So I what I generally like is just looking at nature, like painting something that inspires me, and it can be pretty much anything. But most important aspect would be to share what I feel with, like, that's the goal. That's the end goal, I'd say. Like when I see something, I always feel something, and it'll always be different from what someone else like feels, right? So I actually want to convey that feeling that I'm feeling when I'm watching a scene. Like, let's say I went to travel somewhere, I see a really amazing cave, and I felt something. So I want to carry that forward into my paintings, and that has been my goal for like last 2 3 years. Before that, I just like paint whatever comes to mind, like bash some photos, whatever looks cool, I'll just paint them. But lately, this is something that I've been trying more and more to just paint the feelings. I'd say that sounds a bit dramatic, but I guess yeah. But yeah, that generally for myself, I'll just like it doesn't matter what I paint, as long as I paint. I go outside, I watch the nature, and I paint anything pretty much. As long as it's not, I'm not getting stressed out. Like I need to finish this by this much time, and I need to upload this right now. I'm cool
Mhm.
with that. Like I'm totally fine with that.
Yeah. I mean, even right now, I mean, of course, the COVID restrictions are getting much more, worse everywhere, all around the world. But
Yeah.
I've been feeling it, like I'm actually going crazy again, like last year. I and the thing that always helps me is when I go near the beach or go outside, take a hike, near in the nature. Nature's fucking amazing, and
That's nature is the like we talk about design a lot, but like all of the design principles somehow somewhere comes from nature one way or another. So
exactly.
that's how our taste develops. And I like I've been living in a like metro city for like last 6 years. I sort of miss that. I still try to go around like in hikes and treks all the time, but I've not been able to do that much in
Mm,
last year or so. Uh, but yeah, living in a like populated city, I don't think I like that very much. So that was another plan. I'm probably moving back home soon and trying to build my
mhm,
studio here, and then I can just go around, travel wherever I want. So
mm,
this is much like this place is much greener. So like I see a lot more plants, a lot more areas.
mm.
Like there are national forest reserves all around our town. So like tea gardens this side, like forest this side, river this side. So
Awesome.
it's still very like I'd say like we have not destroyed it as much. So
Ah, yeah.
yeah, so
All right. And what technologies and softwares do you most use for your works?
primarily Procreate, Photoshop. I have gotten into VR lately, so I'll be designing stuff in VR and totally modeling them in 3D. That's also very fun. Like it's super intuitive. Like you can just be there. It feels like you're creating worlds in there because of the whole VR feel. So I've been getting into that, but like since I don't have my computer here, I'm not being able to do that all that much. So now I'm just like taking my iPad, painting everything in Procreate, heavy paint, and yeah, that's about it. And for more complex projects, I'll just use Photoshop because I'm much more familiar with the Windows environment than Mac, because I've been a Windows guy from like way back. So it's hard to transition from that. Like Mac is just like way too user friendly. I don't like that. It's just
Yeah, I hear that a lot when people try to transition to Mac.
yeah. So I'll probably still be using some sort of hybrid function that uses both, like Windows and Mac. So I'm doing that both. Like if I'm doing some sketches, I'll just quickly sketch them out in Procreate, because Procreate, Heavy Paint, whichever. Because iPad feels much more natural. Like you're just holding a small canvas, you're just painting there, right? And another thing, like I could just buy this thing, Cintiq or something, the bigger tablets. But I have tried that. I don't never really got used to it. I'll use a smaller tablet that feels much more natural. I don't know what is happening, but that's the thing. For bigger projects where I need to manage a lot of layers, a lot of files, I'll generally go into Photoshop, and because my iPad is also currently pretty old, so that does not support as many layers either.
Mm.
I'll be upgrading it soon. That's when I'm hoping I could like fully transition, because Photoshop is, let's say, like they just don't care about us that much. They just like want to take the money.
Yeah,
Yeah, so that's another topic, I guess.
yeah. And actually, about Photoshop, I don't know if it's the same in India as well, but I'm originally from Iran, and in Iran, I'm. By the way, before I say anything, it's just a public service announcement here. I don't endorse pirating software, okay? But what I'm trying to say is that in Iran, we basically, because of the sanctions, we can't buy 99% of the original things, so we have to pirate them, like we actually have to. It's not a case of like, we're pirates, all of us.
uh,
But and I heard a lot that it's kind of the same in the whole Middle East and India as well. And
More or less, the thing is like, I'll be very honest with this. Like most of us, like most of the students can't afford it. Firstly, like
hmm?
it's not cheap, and you will have to pay a subscription now. Before, you could somehow still buy the whole thing and keep it for yourself. Right now it's subscription, and it's actually
Yeah,
pretty hard for
$15 per month, I think.
it's per month. It's around like $10 or something, I don't know. Like $10 is a
Mm.
lot here. Like
Yeah, I know, I know.
students especially, it's a lot. Like they could probably eat for half a month with that money. I'm just saying, like, just
Yeah,
some.
exactly.
It's
Not
not.
half a month, not half a month in Turkey, but like
But yeah,
10
like
days, like, yeah.
yeah, you could do a lot. Like you could do a lot. So
Yeah.
that's my point. And it's not cheap, so most people don't buy it. Even I did not buy it like when I was like doing this earlier. But as I started doing this more professionally, I had to buy it. And
Hmm.
yeah,
Yeah, of course, of course. I mean, for example, if your project supervisor checks in on your screenshot and says, "Hey, is your software activated?" and you're like, "What? What is
it's
activation? I just downloaded it."
I understand that, but it's not really that. It's more for myself, because I'm earning enough to, like, I'm using the software and I'm earning from
Hmm.
it, so I don't mind paying for it. But that's the thing, like and funny thing is, like, I pay for the software, and then like every time a new update comes in, I lose at least like two files for some sort of bugs, and that's just makes me
Oh,
annoying. Like every time some
yeah.
update comes, that's why I stopped updating altogether. I'm using some 2019 version or something. Like
Mm,
I
yeah.
downloaded it, like I literally pirated it, and I still have the like original copy because I pay for the subscription. And somehow like it got activated through the cloud. I don't know how that happened, but that is much more stable, because the newer updates
Yeah.
are not stable at all. Like something always gets fucked up. I don't know what is happening.
Yeah, because they usually add new features, and those new features don't perform as well as they tested, and they're gonna patch it up. And during all these patches and instability, yeah,
Yeah, but
yeah, I
I
know.
understand if the bugs were only in that like particular function. But what ends up happening is some old problem, like 4 or 5 years old problem, that like some file does not save, the save got stuck. Those kind of problem will like keep recurring all the time. Like I, I don't know what is happening. So like problems completely unrelated to it, because I'm generally not using the newer functions that much either. But
Mm,
yeah, like I don't want to complain too
mm.
much. It's fine. It's fine. I'll just switch over to Procreate or something.
Yeah, I mean, Adobe products are honestly like super good, but
Yeah,
I wish they made it a plan that we could pay 1 month. Okay, I know dollars is expensive for us, and you're gonna adjust it to our economy, but at least make it a package that you can just pay one time and it's over.
Yeah, yeah.
and make the subscription for the extra content, not the whole thing.
Not
That's
the,
just
yeah, exactly, exactly. Because a
not
lot of the
really
other
good.
softwares, they have the subscription plan as well, but they'll provide you like extra goods, like extra brush packs, like
Oh yeah,
color grades or something like that, something extra that you are paying for. You'll get those like templates, like reference images, whatever. Make those as subscription, but keep the base software free, like not free, like one time payment or
yep.
something like that. Just like I don't understand. Anyway, it's fine.
All right, and I mean, those stuff aside, I mean, I when I saw your page and I wanted to message you for the podcast, I've seen like compared to like most artists, you had like a bit of a good amount of following. And my next question is how to grow on social media as an artist. Like, what are your tips and advice for that?
Okay, so even like 3 4 months back, I did not really have a clear idea. Let's say 6 months back, like I did not have a clear idea how to do this because I just like kept doing, and mostly Procreate. Like I worked for Procreate like 2019 and or something, and they started sharing my stuff once in a while, and that's how I got my initial boost. Before that, I had like 1K or something, like 800 1K followers, like around 2019. So after that it started booming, but then again, I think consistency is the key. I understand like a lot of people post consistently and not get followers, but like I do that myself, but I do not wish other people to do that as well. Like you don't focus on the whole like and follower thing. I did that for the longest time, and it's like super exhausting mentally. And you like we are doing this because we love the craft. It's not because like I understand the urge to like more people see my work. That is like an innate urge for an artist, right? So that's something that we can't do much. But I'm just trying not to overthink about it. I'm just trying to improve and be regular at social media. I think be regular generally helps. Like when you post daily or like somewhat daily, people will build an expectation. I think that's the same with any other social media. It's not just Insta or anything. So if you create an expectation, people will expect stuff out of it, and when you deliver, you'll like they'll feel good. They'll share it around. Like more people will see, and I think that's how it generally works. So don't. And another thing I noticed doing the plein air challenges, posting daily generally is like very like not really what I want to do regularly, because I am very picky about what I post, because most of my like I do a lot of sketches here and there. Maybe 50% of those I won't ever like show to people. They're just like I don't feel like showing them. But when doing these kind of challenges, daily challenges, I'll like if I'm doing something, I have, let's say I have like 1 or 2 hours set aside for this challenge. And if I'm like out of time, I'm out of time. I don't have any other option because I have work to finish. I have other commitments to attend to. So whatever I did during that time, I'll just have to like post that. So that's the thing. Not everything I create would be good. That's like I'm trying to accept that as well. So just keep that in mind. I mean, stressing about it generally does not do any good. Just try to. And faking your personality does not really help either. It's just like try to be yourself, because if you like if we just like try to copy someone successful, we'll just become a copy of them. Same in art. Like if you just try to copy someone's style, someone's method, you'll end up being like them, a copy of them, and most likely a inferior version of them, because like they have done it more than like anyone else, and they're going to be good at it, like much more, much better at it than like anyone else was copying it. So that's my general theme of thinking in art as well. I generally don't like copying stuff all that much. I'll still learn from other people, because like everyone, like there's something to learn from everyone, and I'll take what I want from there, and not generally get sucked into the whole workflow vortex. Like you do this, use this 3D software to achieve result like this. I don't want to achieve something like that. So that's the thing. That's the thing with I think social media as well. I think being yourself generally gives you that edge, and eventually if you keep it up, like everything pays off. It's just like about like time you and how much effort you actually put in. So
Yeah, I mean that's actually a really important point to just post the stuff you actually want and like, not just be a copy or anything. You don't want to be the second Rastra or the Walmart Rastra or anything else. Just
Exactly.
be yourself, and you might not get as much followers at first, but at least the followers you're gonna get are the ones who are there for you.
Yeah, not
That's
not
the
for someone
point.
else. Yeah, that's the thing.
Yeah, I mean, actually, I want to segue into another question from here. Any advice and tips for a good portfolio and resume for an artist?
So that's a very debated topic. Like right now, I'm more often like visual development artist than a like actual game concept artist. So concept art, my general rule of thumb is, if you're working in environments, keep it strictly environments and keep a good amount of works. It doesn't have to be like very limited. If you feel that it's good, and it also helps like showing other industry professionals that this is my portfolio. Do you think like something can be improved? Like, should I keep this piece, or like should I, like, I have this many works or something like that? You can just like ask them. Like, I have gotten like pretty good feedback out of it. If you have friends, also ask them. But general rule of thumb is, if you're focusing on environment, just keep it strictly environment. If you're focusing on character, strictly character. So when the director actually sees your portfolio, they know, look, okay, this guy designs this. You can be a generalist, but like generalists generally like they're not valued as much because they will do anything. And right then and there your value just goes down. So like, lot of generalists out there, like, you will always want to be a specialist, and that's where your demand comes in. Otherwise, like, that's another part where this thing comes in as well. Like, being yourself, something that only you can do, will make you that much more valuable. When you're copying something that other people are doing, you'll you'll get opportunities maybe, but like, that's the thing, you'll be a replacement for someone else, and you can be replaced easily. So that's something to keep in mind as well. And for portfolio stuff and for visual development, generally, what I've heard from other professionals as well, is it's a good idea to have a lot of artworks, lot of like showing your style, like exaggerating your what you're good at. And obviously design is very important there as well. Like, you can show many designs. And this is something that I've been like thinking about, what is the number of artworks that you want in a portfolio. So there's not really a clear answer to me up till now. I just like, for my portfolio, I just put everything I like there. I have like some 30 plus artworks in my portfolio. But from what I've heard, like, if the work that you have are good enough and you enjoy them, you like them, then it's fine to put them. Just arrange them properly and make the website really easy to access. It's not like, you upload super high res images and it takes like 2 years to load a single page. So just keep them manageable, keep them high res, but like keep them manageable, and keep them very straightforward. So like, because art directors in general, they don't have that much time. So they'll, if something happens, if you like, let's say your landing page, instead of your portfolio, your landing page is something other than your like a huge essay about who you are and all that. Avoid those kind of things when you're creating a portfolio. You, like, everyone should be landing on your portfolio directly. So whenever you open the website, it's just your portfolio. Then everything can go afterwards. Like, you'll have separate tabs for like everything else. If they're interested, then they'll go towards like about me section, and like, want to, if they want to know more about it, then they'll like look through the website. But if you lose that like initial punch, you'll have like 5 to 10 seconds of time to like impress, just the first
Hmm.
impression. So I think that's very important. So easy to access website, moderately, like, number could be anywhere between, like, keep it above 10, 15, however many works you have. But like, keep it in the higher end. That's what I feel right now. Like, I
Hmm.
also keep changing my mind about this. But yeah, they just keep ample amount of work, but keep quality works as well. Keep your subject very specialized, like if you want to be specialized in something. So environment portfolio is just environments, no caricatures, no characters, nothing like that. If you want to do caricature, you can just like highlight those section. And if you have other works that you want to show people, that's fine, but just keep them aside from the portfolio, like keep a separate tab or something. but landing page should always be like very straightforward, so they can just like the work should be right up in their face. And yeah, that's about it, I guess.
All right. And what are you working on right now that you can tell us about? What kind of project is it? I mean, of course, if it's something that there's NDA involved, we can skip this question right now. But if that's not the case, tell us what are you doing right now?
So right now, I'm actually working with Procreate on a couple of illustrations that I can talk about. And I've been actually like past year has been really hectic. I was after the lockdown, like I just went back to Bangalore, and the whole COVID thing started. So lockdown started, and I was not able to go out. So and surprisingly, like, a lot of work showed up. Like I was constantly busy till like from February end till some October. I kept working. I had nothing else. I just like sat down in front of my computer. I kept working. So I'm sort of taking some time off as well this year. I'm just taking it easy, not taking as much jobs. Whatever I have is like pretty lightweight for now, so I can manage everything. And I'm also planning to build my studio here, so I'm also planning those and like, cleaning up stuff, general like household chores, and just spending my time with some family as well. So that's about it for now.
All right. I mean, that sounds like really awesome for compared to like other people's plans that had for the quarantine and the whole thing. That's actually a super productive way you spent your time. I mean, congratulations, man. That's
Yeah,
awesome.
yeah, that's the thing. I feel very lucky. Like I was one of the few people who actually somehow benefited from the situation. Like the situation out there is really bad. Like a lot of people are
Yeah.
losing their jobs. It's just the worst. But yeah, I'm
Yeah,
actually
but I
thankful
mean,
that I had the opportunity to like like
yeah, I mean, but that's really nice that you stayed really productive. I mean, that's really good.
yeah.
And what area beside the area you're working on right now, which is art, of course, are you interested to explore and learn in the future if you had like enough time and
Sorry, can
resources
you
and all?
repeat the question?
What area beside the area you're working on right now would you be interested to explore and learn in the future if you given had enough time, free time?
In the field of art or something else?
Anything could be
Anything?
anything.
So
Yep.
I'm like trying to get into music a little more. I I don't know the basics. I just enjoy music for now. I'm trying to learn the basics, and hopefully in the
Hmm.
future, I'll learn the basics and maybe do something with it. That's one thing. Uh, I, I like card tricks. I like sleight of hands. So I'm like planning to practice that more as well. Maybe learn, pick up some new tricks. And what else is there? I also generally like to travel. So hopefully when this thing opens up, I'll be able to like travel more, go on more treks, because like in the Himalayan region, like you have a like lot of treks, like lot of treks around it. So
Awesome.
I generally try to go there, like at least go like at least take part in at least one trek, one like 1 week long or 1.5 week long trek in once a year or something. That's how I've been doing in last 3 4 years. But from last year, it's just like I had to stop because like you can't really go anywhere. But yeah, in future I'm planning to do more of these. So that's there.
All right. Awesome. And well, with everything that's been said and done in this episode, to conclude all we discussed, could you please give us a roadmap for someone who is zero in visual arts and design and wants to get to the place you are in terms of skill sets? Like, for someone zero and wants to, try to like not exactly get to the place you are in terms of skill set, but
Hmm.
to strive towards your, where you are. And what would that roadmap and step by step look like in your opinion?
So this is what I generally tell everyone, and I may sound like a broken record, but this is the most important stuff. Like you need to understand how the fundamentals work. You need to practice the fundamentals. Doesn't matter how bad you are or how good you are. It does not matter. Like fundamentals are fundamentals. You improve them, and your skill basically multiplies. So study fundamentals, study perspective, study lighting, study value, study color. And you can basically do all this by just studying from nature. You don't need to go anywhere. You just like put down an object and see how like it interacts with the light. turn, maybe bring another light in, maybe like add a spotlight, see how the light's changing, see how the colors are interacting with each other. So these are all basic, like fundamental stuff. So you need to practice those, and once you have a like general grasp of it, so you'll be doing more studies, and hopefully you'll find something that you actually enjoy doing, not something like that seems like a good option that maybe make you successful in the future. But what you actually enjoy doing, I always encourage doing that, because you'll always be better at that than something like you're being forced, somewhat forced to do. Like you can still like it but not as much, but you're just doing it because like that's how you earn the bread. And that's a viable option, because lot of the people don't have the option to just uh, do what they love all the time. So you'll need to find a balance how it works for you. Like if you have the luxury to just do the thing you love, I'd say just do that. And if you don't have that, try to develop something that can be commercialized easily. So for stylized artworks, like what I've been doing lately, it's not very easy to find jobs there, I'd say, because like the demand is very limited. And also I understand that there's a like skill threshold that you need to be at least like up to this level to get some sort of jobs in, like those, like if you have an unique style. So to like balance that out, you can just do like add some stuff into a portfolio that gets regular jobs. Like environments in general, environment design has a lot of job in the game industry. Even as a freelancer, you should be good. Like if you have a decent skill set, you should be good with that. Like, but you can just, in that case, it's okay to like rip off people. Like you're just trying to buy your time, right? So you just like learn from others, still try to bring in your own taste into it. Otherwise, like there's no point in that. So you can, or if you want to take a job, you can take a job and like improve their studio experience. I think it's a great thing. Like if you can utilize it properly, it's a great thing. I myself have not done it that much, but that does not mean like anyone else can't. So it's a learning experience. You meet a lot of new people. You like meet a different people. You work in a like a different environment. It's not just like you and your empty room and you're just working painting. So that's there to consider. But I think the key thing in all this is just to like keep it up. Like even if you don't feel like painting today or maybe a week or something like that, don't paint, that's fine. But after that, do it. Like just like being really, how do I say, persistent about it will actually help you in the long run. You just need to keep doing it, and it takes time. Like any skill generally takes around like three to, if you are putting enough time, it takes around 3.5 years to get to that like somewhat decent level. And mastery is a lifelong journey. It's never complete. Like we always achieve for like strive for that, but like we just try our best. That's the thing. So I think that's about it. Yeah.
All right. I mean, yeah, that's pretty much it. Thank you so much for coming by into this episode. And where can people contact you if they had a question? Is your Instagram okay?
Yeah, you can just like contact me on my Insta. It's at the rate of Art of Ayan. So you can just like
Mhm.
put that down or somewhere, I guess.
Yeah, I'll put that in the caption. No worries.
So I'll generally try to get back to people as much as I can, but lately I'm not like being very good at it. I'm just like
Mm.
posting regularly and just like keeping my phone away and just getting back to work. But yeah, like I generally try to reply the messages that I see. So if you have any questions, you're like always welcome to drop me questions. So I'm fine with that.
All right. Awesome. Thanks a lot for coming by again. And that's it. See you. See. Thanks. Thank you also to everyone who tuned in and listened to this episode. Thank you all so much. And take care, everyone. Have a good day. See you next episode. Bye.
Bye bye.